So tell me, how did the project come to be? How did you come on board?
We'd always wanted to make a movie about the whole planet. It seemed to be an epic challenge. Nobody had ever done that. And it took 5 years to make, in fact, didn't it, Mark?
Yeah, it did. 5 years, 2,000 camera days in the field, lots and lots of research. 26 countries we went to. Hundreds and hundreds of hours of time in the air with helicopters. So, and 40 different crews. So it's a huge, huge undertaking for a big planet.
So this First Earth documentary, it's an adaptation of Planet Earth. How did you find the balance to show how much to show, like the predators and the prey stuff? Because it's a different market.
Well, firstly, it's not really an adaptation of.
But there's some
Planet
footage.
Earth. There is, but we filmed the two side by side, and there are certain things which were always more suited to the big screen, and they sort of evolved together, and they sort of helped each other out. But very much, if you go and see the movie, it has a very different feel to the series.
Yeah, totally.
Partly because it's in the cinema, but just partly because very different storylines and some material that we shot especially for the cinema. And I think certainly if you like the TV series, you will love the movie. But
it's a very different experience.
Yeah, I did love the movie. I saw all the Planet Earth volumes, and I find it wasn't as serious, like the narration. It was funny.
Yeah.
This one, and where did you find the balance about how much to show?
I think the key difference between the TV series and the movie, apart from, as Mark says, the fact there's a lot of new footage, is that we would tell the story of these three key characters: the polar bear and her cubs, the humpback whale and her calf, and the elephant and her calf. And these are emotional, engaging storylines. And you know, people go to the cinema for a very different experience from the television experience, and we wanted to take people and show them the whole world in a way that if you had all the money in the world, if you had all the time, you'd never see half of what we show them in the movie Earth. And it's a celebration. It's saying it's a beautiful planet out there. It's still there. Enjoy.
And did you sometimes feel the urge to like help the animals when you're shooting them?
We have a golden rule not to do that.
Yeah.
Because where could you stop?
I know.
You stop. And we've lots of situations where people have said, why didn't you kill the walrus and feed it to that poor starving polar bear? You know, or why didn't you help that little elephant? It was lost. I mean, it's just impossible to intervene. I mean, you could easily make things worse, for one thing, in the case of the elephant. And who's more important, a walrus or a polar bear? It's not for us to decide. No. We just have to observe.
And are you animal lovers?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. No, I mean, we grew up, both of us, passionate about the natural world. You know, we were little boys that would have snakes and
pet
tadpoles,
yeah.
and you know, our mothers were crazy because the amount of animals came into our bedrooms, and we both were fortunate.
Not all of them women.
Yeah, but we were fortunate enough to then read zoology at university, and then went on to work initially for the BBC Naturalist Unit in the UK.
Okay, and why did you decide that James Earl Jones was the narrator?
Wonderful voice.
Great voice.
You know, we're delighted that he agreed to do it. I mean, in a sense, he's the voice of God, in quotation marks, but you know, this is an epic movie. This isn't about a small canvas, and we needed a big voice that would support.
Big, rich and full, and you know, he's the man.
And I guess you were Star Wars fans.
I was, yeah, certainly.
What would you say was the most challenging thing about this?
So many challenges, I would say. I think that one of the things was just sticking at it for 3 years. You know, one thing about wildlife movies is that you can't direct the animals. You know, you write a script and you hope things will happen. And a lot of things went wrong. And they're obviously not in the movie because we didn't manage to film them. But it was that determination to keep going that was particularly challenging. I mean,
we knew that we'd have a lot of things that would go wrong because we were trying so many things that hadn't been filmed before. There's always a reason why things haven't been filmed before. And in lots of cases we discovered it.
Yeah, we did.
Could you give us an example of that?
Well, it's just lots of behaviours that are very rare or very difficult, and you know, they just needed a lot of time. You know, a lot of time. I think, you know, we've to be fair, actually, we did end up filming most of them in the end.
We did, yeah.
I think, you know, we did get most of them in the end, but it was very difficult.
I mean, just the Emperor Penguin sequence in the movie, which lasts a matter of minutes. The cameraman there had to spend the whole year in Antarctica to get that.
Through the winter, that's
Through the
5
winter.
months of darkness.
Filming in minus 70 degrees centigrade. That's dedication.
Yes. And could you tell us a little bit of the process of how did you decide where to shoot? What's the thought process, the brainstorming?
We had a
and
big
all that?
team that worked with us, you know, probably 30 people working, researchers, assistant producers, co-directors, and a lot of research, a lot of talking to scientists. And then just our own knowledge, you know, we've been at this game for quite a long time.
We have our own network of sort of scientists who we know to be at the top of their game, and, you know, we speak to them all of the time. And a lot of them as well, if something starts happening which they think we'll find interesting, they phone us and say, guess what, this has just started, it's really rare, we thought you might be interested. Next day we'll be out there, get a plane, we'll just straight there. So you have to have this network set up around the world, and that's very helpful.
And finally, what are your plans for Mexico? Where are you planning to film, and what did you film already? Could you tell us a little bit of that?
In Mexico?
Yeah, in Mexico.
On the movie, we didn't actually film in Mexico in the movie, but in the future, you mean, or in the past?
Yeah, in the future.
Okay, in the future, we may well film, I mean, it's always lovely to go to Mexico. I filmed spider monkeys near to Tulum.
Okay.
For me, my passion is the oceans, and obviously there's some wonderful, rich waters off Mexico, and we'd love to return to the oceans, and very specifically to film some of the big billfish, the open ocean predators, which you can film wonderfully on the Pacific coast of Mexico.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.